Hello everybody. If you are watching this, then you have either just been a part of the Postural Prowess presentation or you're going to be. Welcome. In this episode, we are talking about some of the strengtheners that we can do to rectify our postural issues. And the first one we're going to talk about is the thigh press. And this is such a simple exercise and it's so effective. One of the problems with posture is that we get slumpy. Our muscles of our mid-back get long and weak, and our shoulder blades, instead of being positioned like this on either side of the spine, kind of roll off to either side and are not doing their job. And so we have no problem firing here because we're like this all day. These are nice and strong. But down on the insides of the shoulder blade, that tends to be very weak, and that's what we're going to be working on to help bring that posture back to upright. Now, people have a little bit of a hard time finding those muscles at the base of the shoulder blades to bring them together and push them in their back pockets. Sometimes I'll just tell folks, if they can find them, tilt those little tips of your shoulder blades together, push them in your back pockets. But if they can't find that, then we do the thigh press. Hands on your thighs, simple. Press down with about 30% of force and pull back, but don't let your hands move. You will find those shoulder blade muscles because those are the muscles that you need to pull those hands back. So again, it's just hands on thighs, push down, and sitting up nice and tall. Pull your hands back, don't let them move, but use your shoulder blades coming together and pushing down to mimic that movement. That's called thigh press. Very simple. You want to hold for about 10 to 15 seconds. You can repeat that multiple times throughout the day. The idea is the muscles you fire, your brain builds nice pathways to so that it gets stronger and can fire faster and can be utilized more regularly. So the more frequently you do posture building exercises, the more your brain is going to build those pathways to those healthy contractions. And so make sure you're doing it regularly. The next one we're going to do is called the YMTL. You can do this sitting, standing, however you want to. I like to do it standing because standing, we just naturally have better posture standing. As soon as we sit, we're like this, right? So for the purpose of demonstration, I'm going to do it sitting today, but practice it standing, practice it sitting, and it can be really effective in starting to strengthen those shoulder blades again. So we start with arms up like this, and my thumbs are backwards, okay? We don't want this. We want to make sure our arms are tilted. That will help fire the right muscles. So arms are up like this, and then very simply, you're going to pull your shoulder blades back and down. It'll move the arms back about 2 inches, and that's the exercise, and you're going to hold it for, again, 10-15 seconds, and then you can also do some repetitions. So hold and squeeze, and then you can come back and do, 5 repetitions. That's the Y. And then we have the T, which is straight out like this. Same exercise, you're just squeezing those shoulder blades together, pulling them together and then pushing them down, holding 4 counts of 10 to 15, and then you can also do some pulsations, okay? And then W is like this. Now here's the nice thing too. You can incorporate some resistance band work with this. So one of the things I will do is go and wrap a resistance band at the gym around something stable, and then I'll grab the handles and I will pull back into this position. Now, when you're doing postural exercises, it's not like you're working out at the gym. You're not going to feel this incredible, like, oh, my muscles are so fatigued. You might a little bit, but they're subtle. All the little muscles that we're trying to fire, they're just small and subtle. And so don't stop because you're like, I don't really feel anything. Keep doing them. The final position is the L, which is this way. And then you're going to pull back and down, just like that. Okay? Again, Y, T, W, and L. And you can incorporate resistance tubing or not, completely up to you. And make sure that you're doing these regularly again because we are so short through here. Those muscles get long and weak. And so what we're trying to do is say, hey, don't forget to fire, and that's why these are so effective. Now, the next one is butt squeezes. Now, that's a hard one to demonstrate, obviously. One of the things I notice is that there are some folks that have a hard time actually finding their gluteal muscles and being able to contract them like that. So if I told you to fire off your bicep, you would flex and I would feel it contract right away. We have very good control over those muscles. What we don't typically have good control of are our gluteal muscles. So I want you to put your hands on your butt right now, and I want you to squeeze your bum together and then relax it. Now, bear with me, I'm going to give a couple examples of how to know you're squeezing your bum correctly that are kind of odd, but they help. I've done it with thousands of patients, and it helps them find those glute muscles. So if you've ever had some kind of food poisoning or anything and you've had diarrhea, you know how to squeeze your bum so that nothing comes flowing out in an inappropriate space. And so put your hands on your butt and just pretend that you're having to hold in a bowel movement. And so squeeze together, there you go. A lot of people can find it that way. Then there's also the $100 bill trick, and that is that if, this was a clinician that told me this, and it is silly, but it works. So if I told you to carry a $100 bill across the room without using your hands, you might find a specific spot for it between your bum cheeks, and if you squeeze together to hold that $100 bill, and I'll give it to you, how about that? That's a good way to find those gluteal muscles as well. Now, once you've found them, often they just fire kind of with a whisper. We want them to go off like a shotgun. And so we have to practice butt squeezes all the time. So when you're in the car, standing in a bank lineup, when you're sitting, squeeze and hold for counts of 10 and relax. Squeeze and hold and counts of 10, and then relax. Then start to challenge yourself. Try to squeeze just one side at a time, then the other side at a time. Try and go back and forth really quickly. Try and squeeze quickly, squeeze slowly. Try all the different ways you can to fire up in your brain a solid pathway down to those gluteal muscles. These will not only help your posture in the end, but they will also actually protect your low back, because when we have weak glute muscles, other parts of the core have to take over, and typically our low back becomes overstressed. So we've talked about thigh press, YMTLs, and butt squeezes, and we're going to end with wall slides. And bear with me, I got to go back to that wall, and I will try to talk loud enough so that you can hear me. But wall slides, I'm gonna say it first, and then I will demonstrate it for you. You get your back against the wall, and your feet are at least 6 inches to a foot away from the wall. And then you bend your knees, so you're kind of in a little bit of a mini squat position against the wall. Now the first part of the exercise is that you flatten your low back against the wall. You shouldn't have any space back there. And if that's your starting point, then that's what you practice, okay? Just flattening your low back against that wall. Second, you are going to put your arms out like this. Actually, second, you're going to tuck your chin and pull your head back. Now, a lot of us who are posturally out here, our spines have become very stiff, and tucking that chin and pulling it back and flattening your spine against the wall is actually really uncomfortable. So pull your chin back just to your comfort level. Ideally, the goal is to get the back of the head against the wall and have almost like the whole spine against the wall at the same time. Now, anatomically, that's not exactly going to happen, but that's the visualization. So we're tucking our tail, we're flattening our low back, we're tucking our chin, gliding our head back over our shoulders. And if that's all that you can do right now, that's okay. Just take some deep breaths there, and then slowly advance to phase 2 and phase 3. So phase 2 is arms like this, and we're still against the wall, and we're going to breathe in. But here's what happens. As soon as I start to come up like this, if I'm stiff through the mid-back, then typically my low back is going to pop off the wall. We don't want that to happen. So you have to engage your core and keep it flat against that wall. So we get into this position, we recheck that our low back is nice and flat against the wall, we tuck our chin, make sure it's back so we're not out here, and then we breathe in. That's phase 2. And we can do, 10 to 15 of those. And what that's doing is it's rocking that pelvis back into a nice upright position and then creating incredible flexibility through the shoulders. Of any of the postural exercises, when I do this one and I do say 15 or 20 reps and I step away from the wall, I literally feel like everything has been pulled back and it feels so good. Phase 3. We do all of the same things, flat back, tuck chin, arms in this position, but when we get here, we're gonna slide up the wall and then slide back down. So it's just a third part. And again, this is an opportunity for that low back to go boop and just pop right off the wall, but we wanna keep that pressed against the wall. So phase 3, again, flat back, push back, tuck chin, glide it back over the shoulders, arms in the right position, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and breathe out. This is an incredibly powerful exercise. Now, caveat, if you have shoulder problems or you're hearing heavy clicking or clunking as you're doing this, you can either move the elbows down and do it from this position, or you may want to eliminate the arms altogether, because if you're doing this and you're getting clicking and clunking, if we do that too much, it could trigger an inflammatory response and you could get some pain, and we don't want that. We want to protect the joints. But often when you just move your elbows slightly, it'll get whatever it's clicking over out of the way, and now you can do the exercise quite smoothly. So here it is, a quick demo. And so we're down, feet are out, low back, excuse me, is pressed against the wall. Chin tucks and pulls back, arms out to the side, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. So that is one of my most favorite postural strengtheners. I hope you give it a try, along with the thigh press, the YMT or YWTLs, and the butt squeezes, and that will send you on your way to better posture. I'm Dr. Heather Denniston. Thanks for watching, and this is Well Fit and Fed.